Hi, my name is Deb Johnson, and I'm with the Children's Institute in Rochester, New York. I've had the honor and pleasure of working with the Primary Project for over 20 years, both as a school mental health professional, as a manager of the program, and now at the national level, where Primary Project is in over 2,000 schools around the country. The Primary Project began over 50 years ago in Rochester, New York. It began when a school psychologist, a social worker, and a community psychologist recognized that there were many children who were having difficulty adjusting to school. Many of these children did not need professional intervention by a psychologist, but rather they needed a different type of intervention to help them ease into the transition of schools. Since that time, we have done extensive research and evaluation to better understand the program and best meet the needs of the children. The project itself is based on 6 core components: working with young children, systematic screening and selection, high-quality child associates, professional supervision and role change, ongoing program evaluation, and integration into the school environment. For young children, the project focuses primarily on children who are entering the school environment, preschool, kindergarten to 3rd grade. The second core component of the project is systematic screening and selection. For that, we encourage schools to consider all children in the target age group to determine which children will benefit most from the project. The third core component is quality child associates, and it is for you that this video is primarily made. The quality child associate is the one who provides the direct helping service to young children. The fourth key component of the program is the changing role of the mental health professional. In this component, the mental health professional has the ability to work with many more children indirectly by supervising and training the child associates. In that way, your impact is much broader on a school campus. The fifth core component is ongoing program evaluation. When this is built into the program, it gives you ongoing feedback annually as to the progress that you are having with children. Finally, the sixth core component is integration into the school environment. That is why we are shooting this today in a classroom, to recognize that the Primary Project is an expansion of what is offered on a school campus, that it is part of how a child adjusts to school and how we support their overall progress. In my 20 years with Primary Project, I have had wonderful opportunities to travel around the country to meet and to train child associates and their supervisors. It is in response to this that we are developing this series of videos for you. We have been asked over and over again to provide opportunities for you to see real sessions with real child associates and real children. Over the past years, we have listened to your questions and listened to your concerns and have now spent some time to develop this video for your use. We hope that you will take advantage of it to review it over and over again as part of a Primary Project team with your child associates and the supervisors. There are also opportunities for you to use this video as part of a way to help teachers and parents understand your role. Therefore, this past spring, we spent some time in Primary Project playrooms, which are much different than a regular classroom, because we know the environment is different and it is a one-to-one relationship between the associate and the child. Throughout this program, we will introduce and review the basic skills that are needed to be used in the Primary Project. The skill will be introduced to you. You will then be able to observe it between a child and a child associate. We then encourage you to stop the program and practice the skill yourself using the materials that have been provided with it. Let me review some of the basic skills that will be introduced to you. We will be talking about structuring a session, how you pay attention to a child and let the child know that you are listening to them, responses that build relationships. Moving forward, we will talk about encouraging children's decision-making, responsibility, and self-confidence. Our host will also be outlining some simple techniques for setting limits for children. And last but not least, we will talk about how you end a session with a child, how you say goodbye to children. It is our hope that you will use this video as a way to improve your skills, both at the beginning of working with children, as well as during the course of the year. It is in response to your need and your desire and your request that we provide this video for your use. I'd now like to introduce you to Mary Ann Peabody, Coordinator of National Training for the Primary Project.
Thanks, Deb. Hello, I'm Mary Ann Peabody, Coordinator of National Training for Primary Project. What is child-led play? Why do we use it in Primary Project? Can a child really lead the whole session? Perhaps these are some of the questions that are going through your mind. It is important to know that child-led play is more than just a set of skills. It is a way of being that helps the child associate build a facilitative and warm relationship with the child. Child-led play is a competence-based model that builds on the strengths of the child rather than focusing on the problems. The adult helps to reinforce the strengths that already exist in the child. The relationship that develops between the child associate and the child is the key to growth and change. By learning and believing in this respectful way of being with children, the child associate learns to honor the natural communication of children, their play. The child-led play philosophy is strongly connected to the attitude and belief that children have the ability to strive towards growth and maturity. By communicating acceptance and belief in the child, we can activate the child's capacity for solving problems, which helps move them towards optimal ways of being and behaving. When this philosophical belief is lived out with children in a play session, they are empowered. They begin to believe in themselves. Although child-led play is about allowing children to lead the play, there are certain times and ways that a child associate structures the experience. In essence, structuring skills set the tone for the play session. Children thrive in a consistent, predictable environment. Therefore, we want to help children understand the overall format of the play sessions. Structuring the session helps children understand that the play times might be different from the rest of their school day, and that some of the rules are a bit different as well. When structuring a first session, it is important that you let the child know how often you will meet and how long the sessions will be. The time that a child associate meets with the child should be the same time each week if possible, and approximately 30 minutes. The child then begins to trust that consistency is part of this unique relationship. You might say to the child, "Zachary, we will meet for a half an hour once a week in the playroom." What they can expect from the playroom experience. For example, stating that the child can play with the toys in a lot of ways, or in most ways, conveys that there will be opportunities for freedom, self-direction. However, this relationship will also strive to keep the child safe, so there will be limits on behavior that hurts the child associate, or the property. So in fact, this is not a place of total freedom. When the end of the session is getting close, the child associate should give a 5-minute warning and a 1-minute warning when the play session is over. At the end, you firmly but pleasantly say, "Amber, our time is up for today. We need to leave the playroom now." Let's see this in action. Notice how the child associate handles the child's reaction to the 5-minute warning.
Robert, we have 5 more minutes.
Man,
Oh,
I hate 5 more minutes.
that time goes so fast for you. You wish you had a lot longer.
In this example, the child associate does a nice job of letting the child know that she understands how he feels about the ending of the session. Let's see how another child associate prepares a child for the end of the session, and then lets the child know that the session is over.
Jakim, we have 5 minutes left. Okay, Jakim, our time is up for today. It's time to actually go back to our class.
Did you notice the child associate's tone of voice? What was that like? You may want to press pause and discuss how you structure a session, what works well for you, as well as challenges that you might face. The main job of a child associate is to be fully present with the child. One way that we can do this is to improve our attending skills. What does it mean to attend to a child? In Primary Project, we encourage child associates to observe and comment on the child's play. The child associate pays attention to what the child is doing. Your job is to comment on what you see. For example, a child might be using brown and purple crayons to draw on a piece of paper, and you might comment, "I see you drew brown and purple," covering the whole page. Perhaps the child is pushing a car across the floor. You might comment, "I see you rolling that car right across the floor." It is important to remember to match your verbal responses and nonverbal body language to that of the child's. For example, if a child's voice is low and quiet, your responses might also be low and quiet. Let's see some real-life examples of attending to a child's play.
Hi. It's the fire department. Sorry, but I need to take off your wheel. For what? For nothing. For speeding.
He was speeding, so the fire department's going to take off his wheel. That'll get him to slow down.
I put it on his bike so he can speed.
Oh, so he wants to be the speeder.
He wants to get to red lights. You know how, like, he's like, I'm not speeding. I'm going back to the fire department. Goodbye.
So that wheel's going to make him go a lot faster than everybody else. Those look like some type of rockets. Those look like they make you go really fast.
I'll leave me on this one, watch.
You're adding them to this.
Now you
Machine
can
with a robotic
now
arm.
you can speed. Speeder. Okay, I'm gonna go through red lights. Bye.
Looks like that truck can go really fast.
Can't fall off it.
Looks like the wheels goes down.
This is a lot.
Those are a lot of Legos stuck together.
Staircases.
That looks like a staircase.
Ooh, ooh. This is upside down land.
You're going in upside down land. Never ending stairs. You could just keep walking around and walking around and never get anywhere.
And here's the off button. Beep.
Fire's gonna be in the upstairs windows. You're trying to set it up just like the cover.
Just pushing that lever. That's it? That's it? Okay, okay. Taking that one out. Selecting another one.
Sarah, looks like you're digging for something. Oh, looks like you found a dinosaur.
More.
Digging for more. Oh, looks like you found another one. You're feeding the dinosaur. Oh, no. The dinosaur is getting rid of all of his food.
When commenting on the child's play, it is important to remember that you can comment on what the child is doing. For instance, you are stacking the blocks. And you can comment on the content of the play. It looks like those two dolls are fighting. Both of these attending statements let the child know that you are with them and paying attention. These type of statements can intensify and deepen the child's play. Watch this clip again. What happens to the child's digging after the child associate comments on it?
Sarah, looks like you're digging for something. What are we digging for today?
Fossil.
Oh, you're digging for fossils.
Aha!
Oh.
Child associates have to listen to understand what the child is saying, feeling, or thinking. One way to convey that you are listening and attending is the use of reflection statements. This means that you attend to the child and repeat back in slightly different words something they have done, said, possibly felt, or thought. One of the greatest gifts we can give another human is to listen for feelings. You can show empathy by reflecting back your understanding of the child's feeling states. For example, Johnny, you feel frustrated because you can't get that container open. Sometimes a child may not say anything, but as you keenly notice the child's nonverbal behaviors, you get a sense of how the child might be feeling. For example, the child might be smiling or frowning or grimacing. How might you reflect the feelings the child is showing you through these nonverbal behaviors? You may want to press pause and discuss this. You may even want to share some examples from your own work of reflecting verbal and nonverbal behaviors. The process of naming a child's feelings models feeling words and expressive language. Further, we hope to convey that all the child's feelings are acceptable to share in this relationship. Let's see some examples of reflection statements.
And when they get stuck in the little holes like that, that's kind of hard.
It's kind of hard.
Kind of. Not really.
Not really.
I think there should be more days.
You think there should be more days of school?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you like school.
Yep, I love school.
You love school.
That's how you do those.
You're feeling quiet today, Robert.
And I didn't even get that much sleep today.
You're tired. You went to bed late last night.
Yeah. Oh, great. There's brown in here, too.
Oh, sometimes the Play-Doh gets mixed up.
See? I'll cover it up.
You don't want the brown in there. You just want the blue Play-Doh.
I like it. I wish I had this costume.
You wish you could be a Power Ranger all the time.
I wish I was the real one.
You want it perfect.
You're pointing over there. It looks like you might want to play with something over there. Oh, you want to get the mat out. You want to get the mat out? You like that car. You decided to play that car.
I want to play with that big bus.
You want to play with that big bus. You decided you wanted to do that. You sounded excited about that. Really big bus. Okay. It goes by itself. You look surprised.
The first step in encouraging a child's decision making is to let the child decide what to play with. Remember the structuring statements that we talked about earlier? It is important to let the child know that they are free to play with the playroom materials in many of the ways that they would like. Your language is very important when facilitating the child's sense of decision making and self-direction. For example, if a child cannot decide what to play with, you might reflect, "You aren't sure what you want to play with today." If the child figures out what to play with, you might respond, "Looks like you have decided what to play with." In Primary Project, we constantly strive to let the child take responsibility for his or her actions. Therefore, we always want to turn the responsibility back to the child if they are capable. Perhaps you have met a child who asked you what specific toys were or how to play with them. In order to turn the responsibility to the child, you might respond, "You feel curious about how that works, and you would like me to tell you, but that is something that you can decide." Perhaps you have met with a child who wants you to do everything for them. A response might be, "You would like me to do that for you, but in here, that is something that you can do for yourself." If a child is truly incapable of doing something, you can encourage the child to work with you as a partner who follows their lead. Let's see some real-life examples.
Looks like you decided to play with sand.
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
I decided to play with this.
Okay.
What did you notice about that clip? You might have noticed that the child corrected the associate. That can sometimes happen, and it is okay. A child will let you know if you don't have it quite right. Watch how the child associate in this next clip works hard to turn the responsibility over to the child and foster his decision-making skills.
Someone in the world, please help me.
Oh, you want some help? I wonder what we could use to get it off. What do you think? Is there something over here? That's frustrating for you. Oh, good try. You have good ideas, Robert.
Please help me.
Sure. What do you think? Here, want to do it together?
Yeah, smeared off.
Yeah. That's really frustrating to you. That's stuck on there.
Man, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay. You can do something else. And here you get to choose.
Where's the match to the Batman costume?
Let's see some more examples.
I just want to wear this.
You decided not to put the whole thing on. Trying to decide which one you're gonna put on there, huh? Trying to figure out where to put that bathtub. Not quite sure. So many little corners we can put that in. Well, changing your mind. Changing the house around already. Gonna redecorate it.
Okay. What should we do today?
I don't know.
Like you're not sure what we should do. I'll move this out of the way. My room looks a little bit different today, huh?
Yep.
Looks like you're not quite sure what to do.
Yeah, I'm not.
Red and blue. You're looking for the blue one. You're wondering where it is. Looks like you found it. You knew exactly which one you wanted to get.
There is a difference between praising a child and encouraging their effort. A child associate who states that the child is a great painter places a condition or quality on the child's painting. In this situation, the child may then seek to further impress the associate with his painting skills. In a sense, the session becomes about pleasing the associate rather than the child being emotionally expressive. Therefore, in project, we focus on making statements that acknowledge the child's effort. For example, we use phrases such as, "You worked hard to," or "You're concentrating on making that just the way you want," or "You built that just the way you wanted." Let's see what this looks like in the playroom.
Figured it out, how to get them in there properly to close it. I'm working hard to get it in there properly.
I can really see you concentrating on that. Can really see you trying to figure that out.
Being very careful, aren't you? Very careful. You are really looking hard, trying to find other things in there.
You're looking really hard. I can see that you're searching. Looks like you found her. You're going to measure them. We like to measure them to see who's taller.
Sometimes a child associate has to set limits with the child in the playroom in order to keep the child safe, to keep you safe, or to prevent toys from being broken. Instead of presenting the child with a list of rules during the first few sessions, we suggest that you set limits only when a limit arises. Fundamentally, this approach allows for more expressive play with fewer boundaries and gives the child the opportunity and control to decide whether or not to test the limits of the playroom. There are generally a few hard and fast limits in the playroom. The child cannot engage in activities that would cause them harm. The child cannot engage in activities that would cause you harm. The child cannot break the toys. The child cannot engage in activities that would damage physical playroom space. The child cannot take the items from the playroom.
Yeah.
Oh, you found them right away.
How are limits set in the playroom? Well, there is a 4-step process in setting limits in Primary Project. Let's say that a child wants to pull the wheels off of a toy car. As an adult, you know that pulling the wheels off would ultimately cause the toy to be broken. Therefore, the first step in setting the limit of not breaking this toy would be to comment on what the child wants or appears to feel. For example, you might say, "I can see that you're trying to take the wheels off. You would really like it if those wheels came off that car." The second step would be to set the limit. For example, you might say, "The wheels are not for taking off." The third step would be to let them know what else they could do. For example, you can pretend to take the wheels off. The fourth step would be to comment on what the child says or seems to feel. The child might frown and say, "Oh, I can't take them off," and you might respond, "You feel sad because you would like to take them off, but can't." Your work with the child will eventually come to an end. Imagine that you have been working with a child for the past 10 weeks, and because the end of the school year, you only have 5 sessions left. It is helpful to prepare the child for the end of your time together. You can do this by counting down the sessions when you are nearing the end. For example, at the end of a session, you might say to the child, "I want to let you know that we have 5 more sessions after today, and then our time together will be over." You would then continue to count down remaining sessions until the end of your time together. Ending primary project with the child may look very different for different child associates. Some may use a sticker chart to help the child visualize the end of project, and another child associate may have children cross weeks off of a calendar. In any event, the important thing to remember is that you implement a consistent countdown when you near the end of your work with a child. The child may have emotional reactions, so remember to actively listen and acknowledge the child's feelings. Primary Project is a program with a rich history and a bright future. With more and more programs being implemented each year, we know that children will greatly benefit from the work of child associates just like you for years to come. We hope that you have enjoyed this video and found it to be a helpful resource for improving your skills. Continued practice with structuring sessions, attending to a child's play, relationship building responses, responses that encourage a child's decision-making and responsibility, encouragement responses, and limit-setting responses will help you to conduct facilitative play sessions with children while helping them to feel better about themselves, become more self-directed, emotionally expressive, and ultimately become better adjusted to the school environment. Thanks for watching.